Okay, I'm here with Justin Hurst, Springfield City Councilor, longtime City Councilor, former City Council President, who is now running for Mayor of the City of Springfield. Thanks for coming by.
Absolute pleasure, Mike. Thanks for all you do, and Focus Springfield. Thanks for all they do.
I've got to ask you. It's almost like going to be a lightning round here, but I got to ask you. Right now, top of mind awareness in this city is about crime.
Yes.
And we're at a point in terms of murders that we haven't been at for 10 years, if I remember correctly.
Absolutely.
So every candidate is talking about this. If you're elected, what would you do to try to address this issue? Especially, what would you do that maybe the incumbent is not doing, or maybe some of the other candidates for this position are not talking about?
It's really straightforward. First of all, you have to have a comprehensive plan. The idea that we're just now trying to create a plan is problematic after 16 years. Number two, we need to make sure that we work with the police as well as the community, as well as the individuals that are committing the crimes themselves. From a police standpoint, we need to make sure that we have a full complement of police officers. Right now, we're currently down 70 police officers, and that certainly impacts the level of crime we have here in the city. In addition to that, we need to make sure that our police officers are on flex shifts and that our specialized units are on flex shifts. The idea that crime stops after midnight is just not realistic. And so we need to make sure that our specialized units are working on the weekends and also working past midnight. And then in addition to that, we need to make sure that we have a police officer on every unit that is dealing with gang guns and violent crime at both the state and the federal level. As it relates to the community, we need to make sure that the community is involved in any plan that we come up with, and we need to invest in the organizations that are on the ground level addressing this issue from addressing the root causes of crime. So those organizations that are investing in our youth, we need to make sure that we're providing them the resources they need. Those organizations that are investing in mental health, those organizations that are investing in recidivism and making sure that our returning citizens have vocational training so that they can be employable. All of that is important when it comes to stopping crime. And then we also need to assess whether these organizations are being effective. Oftentimes we throw good money after bad money because we're not doing a level of assessment that we need here in the city of Springfield. I believe what is happening right now is the culmination of 16 years, and it's just come to a head. And so it's going to take some time for us to get it back on track, but I'm confident that as the next mayor of Springfield, we can do that. And then lastly, as part of that plan, we need to have conversations with the gang members themselves, and we need to develop a peace treaty. We need to identify what the crux of the issue is as to why it is that they're shooting with the level of disregard that they have right now, and then we need to see if we can find a solution.
So here's another hot button, at least it's been a hot button for me, and that is how ARPA funds have been allocated in the city.
It's a hot button issue for everybody.
Because when you take a look at some of the organizations, businesses, individuals even, that have received ARPA funds, I have to say that some questions have been raised. Realizing that if you become mayor, I'm not sure if there'd be any ARPA funds at that point for you to allocate. But let me ask you, are you happy with the way the ARPA funds have been used?
I don't know how anybody could be happy. I mean, from the outset, we've failed the residents of Springfield. We purchased $2.7 million in buildings in downtown before we invested in our neighborhoods. We gave merit pay to our non-collective bargaining employees before we gave merit pay to our collective bargaining employees. Our firefighters practically had to beg to get their merit pay on the steps of City Hall. We have thousands of residents who are still waiting on their $1,400 payment. And to be quite frank with you, the outdoor dining was the icing on the cake. And that essentially is what is going to bring the DOJ into the city of Springfield. We know rich developers and corporations continue to get money while new businesses and startups have got little to nothing, and small businesses have got little to nothing in comparison. So, we need to figure it out. My hope is that the DOJ comes in and does an audit of all of the funding and the way in which it's been dispersed, and I'm sure they're going to find some fraudulent spending there.
I know that there's been great emphasis on downtown development for years now, for decades. And a lot of neighborhoods in Springfield have said that economic development, housing development in their areas have lagged behind. If you're elected mayor, would there be a shift in priorities?
There absolutely would be a shift in priorities. We all know that small businesses is the heartbeat of the city of Springfield, and so if we're not investing in the heartbeat of the city of Springfield, then we're gonna lag behind other cities similar to the city of Springfield. We know that our small businesses employ a number of individuals from the community, and then we know those individuals who are employed in turn reinvest their paychecks back into the community. And so, we need to have an approach that really prioritizes our small businesses. We need to make sure that we have city contracts going directly to these small businesses, thereby making them medium-sized businesses and large-sized businesses. In addition, the city needs to lead in terms of buying goods and supplies from these small businesses to make sure that they are sustainable, and our anchor institutions like the Bay States of the world and the Mass Mutuals of the world ought to be doing the same so we can grow our small businesses, which we know are not going anywhere, certainly hopefully not considering everything that they've gone through in the wake of COVID. And then lastly, we need to build relationships with these small businesses so that they can in turn welcome us so that we can give them the technical assistance that they need to get access to capital.
One last question.
Yes, sir.
This past year, we saw Bill Hornbuckle, the CEO of MGM Resorts International, come to the city of Springfield and basically say, well, we can't live up to our promise about jobs because we've discovered that that was unrealistic, that we didn't properly assess the market. I realize that MGM is indeed giving the city of Springfield, through its host community agreement, a sizable amount of cash. I understand that. But still, it seems to me when the casino isn't fully reopened after the pandemic, when many other businesses are now fully operating after the pandemic, when they've made these promises about employment, it doesn't seem like the city has got the leverage to say, hey, wait a minute, you need to live up to the HCA. And I'm wondering if you're mayor, if this was something you would try to pursue.
We certainly need to look into it and see what it is that we can do. I mean, at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're holding MGM accountable, but maybe there are other ways in which we can kind of leverage our power as a municipality to get MGM to do some more community giving than they would have ordinarily done. I recognize that they're not living up to their promises. It's problematic, but the fact that we were overly relying on MGM to save the day is even more disappointing. And so we need to really focus on everything around MGM and making sure that we're doing everything possible to attract people to the city of Springfield, to market what the city of Springfield is already doing, and to make sure that the residents of Springfield feel safe when they go downtown and feel as though we have an entertainment venue that folks are attracted to, and other businesses are thriving outside of MGM. You look at Boston, they had a nighttime sort of guru that they appointed. There's no reason why we can't do the same here in Springfield, and we need to make up our mind. Do we want to be a 24-hour city or not? And we can't just allow MGM to be the only 24-hour business in the game here.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Justin. Always a pleasure, sir.
Absolute pleasure. Good to see you.
Take care.